Hello everybody, this is Basically GRX1 here, and today I'm going to be doing a review on Life on Our Planet. And yeah, this is definitely going to be my first ever review. I've always wanted to do some reviews on media, like shows, games, or TV, or etc., or cover topics on it. So yeah, let's just get into it. So Life on Our Planet. It is a brand new paleo documentary that has been released on Netflix. As of the time I'm recording this, it has been about at least a week since it's been released. So, what are my thoughts on it? Well, it's not bad. There's a lot of good stuff, but I was really disappointed. But before we talk about the negatives, let's talk about the positives. I'm gonna get the biggest positive out of the way. I love the fact that they are, expanding upon the history of life on Earth. Prehistoric Planet is famous now for being one of the most, beloved paleo documentaries in recent years, and for good reason. I myself have been watched the whole thing because, well, I don't have Apple TV, so yeah, I can't exactly watch the whole thing. But when I saw this, I got pretty excited because not only was it going to be focusing on dinosaurs, but it's also going to be focusing on other prehistoric animals. Because Prehistoric Planet was focusing on the Maastrichtian of the late Cretaceous, but this series is going to be focusing on all kinds of eras. So that got me pretty excited. Another compliment I have to give is the designs of the creatures. They're not as unique and inventive as Prehistoric Planet or Dinosaur Revolution, but there are some highlights, like the blue Anomalocaris, there's also the giant red Camaraoceras, the Erythrosuchus, which is called Erythrosuchid. I'll get back to that, but the Erythrosuchus, which is clearly meant to look like a crocodile, which is pretty nice. The Anchiornis, the T-Rex looks pretty cool, and the Titanus too also looks pretty cool. There are some pretty good highlights here. There is some generic designs, but there is also some pretty cool designs. So I will give the show that. Also, there is some segments that were definitely highlights. One of my favorites is definitely the segment with the Arthropleura, and us following the journey of this giant millipede just trying to find a mate. That was actually really cool, and it was compelling to see this animal finally find a mate. Another segment I really liked was the Lystrosaurus segment, with the one Lystrosaurus walking around this barren landscape until finding a whole herd of Lystrosaurus. That was pretty cool. And the Dunkleosteus segment, the Allosaurus segment, there's a lot of segments that are really good. And there's also some modern segments too. Now, this is also a negative, but we'll get to that later. But let's talk about the positive stuff about these segments. Going into it, I knew that there was going to be some modern segments with modern animals, which I thought would be cool. Because while I would love to learn more about prehistory, I also think audience should also be informed about the modern animals. And they do pretty good. There's a lot of unique animals shown here. And what else can I say that is... the narration by Morgan Freeman. Oof, so good. He does an excellent job of narrating the life on our planet and these unique and even bizarre creatures that are part of our history. It's pretty good. He's a great narrator. And yeah, I think it's time to talk about the negatives, and oh boy, these negatives are, yeah. And before I talk about these negatives, yes, this is not scripted whatsoever. I am improvising all of this because I didn't script it because honestly, I just want to give what my personal feelings about the show right now. I don't want to script it. This is just how I'm doing it. It may not be the greatest, but this is just how I'm doing it. So, yeah. But anyways, on to the negatives. So one negative I do have a gripe with is the fact that many creatures in the show are not named, which is a big problem because if they're not named, then your audiences will get confused as to what those creatures are. Like what I said earlier with the Erythrosuchus being called a Erythrosuchid. It's pretty unclear and just unnecessarily annoying because it's clearly meant to be Erythrosuchus. It's just called Erythrosuchus. The same problem is with the Titanus and the Kelenken, because both animals are only called terror birds, which could be referred to any any member of the Forest Racidae, which is the terror bird group. And it's really annoying because those are clearly meant to be Kelenken and Titanus. So it's just unnecessarily annoying, and I don't understand why they couldn't just name them. Another one was with the Jurassic Sea segment where they referred to a pliosaur only named the plesiosaur, which is kind of inaccurate, but to be fair, pliosaurs are part of the plesiosaur family, so I can let that pass. But what I cannot let pass is they just don't name it whatsoever. They don't name the pliosaur. It's annoying. And to put this even further, there's pterosaurs they show, and they don't name them. Like, are you kidding me? Like, how? Like, it's really unclear because that would be like if Time of the Titans from Walking with Dinosaurs referred to the Allosaurus as just a dinosaur or just a theropod. That's pretty unclear because there's God knows how many pterosaur species. So how am I supposed to know what this one is? It's very unclear. Like, you can't just say pterosaur. You have to at least give me a name or give me something besides just pterosaur. It's annoying and it's really unnecessary. Another problem is probably the biggest problem of the series. I'm just gonna say it. There is way too many modern segments. Now, I did praise the modern segments earlier, but they are also an issue because they take up way too much time for the paleo segments. Because there's moments where you're watching like a scene, a scene from a prehistoric segment, but then it's interrupted by a modern segment, and this now it wasn't too bad at first. I was perfectly fine with it, but my patience for it dwindled by the middle of the series. And then by the end of it, I was just getting frustrated as all hell. It was annoying, and I mean really annoying. Just seeing because these segments take up way too much time, and oh my god, and they just I'm losing my mind here. I'm sorry, but they just, and the thing is, I think it's probably the reason why all these segments don't have that many creatures in it. That's another problem. Most of the segments have 2 to 3 creatures tops. That's it. That's the prehistoric segments, not the modern segments. It's still annoying. It's really annoying because I would have loved to see some more dinosaurs, and it's just so annoying because there's like 3 animals tops, and one or two of them aren't even named. So yeah, it's just a big problem. Now, and the thing is, it would have been an easy fix too. They could have. This is how I think they should have fixed that. Now, I would still keep some of the modern segments between these, because I feel like you should at least educate your audiences as to how you got to the speculation of these animals. I can get that. But I think what they should have done is put most of the modern segments at the end. That way, it could come full circle, because the whole series is about the history of life on our planet. So it would have made sense. No, you could educate audience about modern animals. It would come full circle from the beginning of life to the modern era, and you could focus on other prehistoric animals. It's an easy fix, but they don't do that. They just keep on interrupting these great prehistoric segments with modern segments. And again, I don't hate the modern segments. They're really good. But whenever, but it just went, but it happened, it happened so often, it just got to a point where I was just getting annoyed at this point. And honestly, I just came to a point where I just skipped the modern segments entirely because it was getting so annoying. Like, oh my god, I know. There's a lot of other stuff I'm like I'm probably missing, but yeah, that's just like most of the stuff that's the stuff that annoyed. Those are the biggest problems with the show. Oh, and there's another problem I have. Yeah, they sometimes reuse footage, and it's really annoying. Now, to be fair, it only happens once, but even then, it's really lazy. Because there's a segment with Maya Sora, which wasn't bad, but then, like, later on, they reuse that same footage, only instead it's with Edmontosaurus, and now they have yellow crest on them. It's really obvious, and it's lazy. It's just, like, it's pretty obvious. It's just really lazy. Like, God. And like I said earlier, like, the fact that, we can't focus, that there's just too much, like, with the modern segment taking too much time. Like, I don't know, it would have been, you have no idea how cool, I can't talk right now. I'm in the midst of this, but still, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, the Myosaurus segment was pretty cool, but it also would have been cool to see, like, Daspletosaurus, or Ionosaurus, or any of the ceratopsians for the two medicine formation. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent right now. I'm losing my speech right now. But yeah, it's like it's just kind of lazy, the fact that they just reused Myosaur footage for Edmontosaurus footage, and it's not even like subtle. Yeah. Yeah. Also, with the also like what I said earlier about the them not naming animals. There's another thing where there's Inostrancevia, and it's clearly meant to be Inostrancevia because there's Lystrosaurus and Scutosaurus, but they only call it the Gorgonopsid, which is, like I said earlier, annoying for no apparent reason. It's just, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was just, Life on Our Planet was incredibly disappointing. I was really excited for it. I really was. I was really hoping that this series would be great. And it did start off really good. Like, for the first 3 episodes, I was enjoying myself. I thought this series was doing pretty good. But then, like, halfway through the series, it dropped off, and yeah, it was just a big disappointment. There is one more compliment I will give. The ending is great. I do love the fact that despite the fact that we as humans have screwed over the planet a lot, there is still hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. And that's actually something I really found shocking. I didn't think this series would go that route. Even some of the best series, like Walking with Dinosaurs, haven't done that. And it actually has, a hopeful message. Like, despite all the stuff that we as, species have done to the planet, it still shows that life will find a way, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that there is hope for Mother Nature. It's a really good ending. But yeah, the series is still disappointing. Again, I gotta clarify, it's not a bad series. In fact, I would even say it's actually a good series. But it was incredibly disappointing, so if I were to give it a ranking, I would give it like a 6.5 out of 10. Not a bad series, but definitely a big disappointment. But if people really love this series, I am glad for them. And I do hope that they could at least expand upon this idea, whether it's with like a sequel, or maybe doing more episodes, or like a new season like what they did with Prehistoric Planet. I would like to see that. But yeah, that's my review on Life on Our Planet. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next episode.